Good morning. Did you all get the answer for this? Firstly, can you all see the screen? We will finish this and go to the next concept. Okay. So X, Y, and Z will play cricket, where the runs of X and Y is in the ratio of 3 is to 2, and Y's runs to Z's run is in the ratio of 3 is to 2. Together, they score 342 runs. How many runs did each score? So they have given the ratio of X is to Y and Y is to Z. So solution, ratio of runs between X and Y is 3 is to 2, and ratio of runs between Y and Z is also 3 is to 2. So therefore, multiply X is to Y with 3 and Y is to Z with 2. So therefore, X is to Y is equal to 3 into 3 is to 2. 3 3s are 9 is to 3 2s are 6. Then Y is to Z, you have to multiply it with 2. So what you will get? 3 2s are 6 is to 2 2s are 4. So therefore, X is to Y is to Z is 9 is to 6 is to 4. Now let us find the share. So A's, before this, the total runs scored are 342. Okay, the total runs scored are 342. So A's, sorry, that is X, right? X runs is equal to 342 into, the ratio is 9 is to 6 is to 4. So you have to add all the ratio. So sum of ratio will be 9 plus 6 plus 4 is 19. So 9 by 19 will give you 162 runs, and Y's runs is equal to 342 into 6 by 19. That will give you 108 runs, and Z's runs is equal to 342 into 4 by 19, which will give you 72 runs. So these are the runs. Clear? Any doubts in the problem? Okay, good. Now let us go to the next concept under ratio, that is called as proportion. You will have easy problems only. Okay, so this ratio and proportion are studied together. Okay, we understood what is the ratio. Now let us understand what is proportion. Now proportion represents two equal ratios. Okay, proportion represents two equal ratios. When four quantities A, B, C, and D are related as A is to B is equal to C is to D. If the A, B, C, D quantities are related like this. So you have two ratios here. So two equal ratios. One ratio is A is to B. The other ratio is C is to D. And these two ratios are equal. Okay, then when in such scenario we can say that A, B, C, and D are in proportion. Okay, so we have two ratios, and these two ratios, they are equal, and whenever the two ratios are equal, they are said to be in proportion. Okay, when A is called the first term or first proportional, B is called second term or second proportional. C is the third term or third proportional. And D is the fourth term or fourth proportional. That is the names given. Okay. So A is the first term or first proportional. B is the second term or second proportional. C is the third term or third proportional. D is the fourth term or fourth proportional. Okay. So these are the names. And one more way of naming them are the last two numbers, that is the first one and the last one. These are the extremes. So if you see them, the A is in one extreme, D is in the other extreme. Okay, so A and D are called as extremes, and B and C are called as means. You would have learned this even in your PUC. Okay, so A and D are extremes, and B and C are means. So did you understand what do you mean by proportion? Proportion represents two equal ratios where A, B, C, D are given. If A is to B is equal to C is to D, then all A, B, C, D are said to be in proportion. Understood? Okay. Okay, this I think you are able to see, right? So the rules of proportion. Now we understood A and D are extremes. B and C are means. Right? So product of extremes is equal to product of means. This is one major formula in proportion, which is also called as rule of proportion, which we will be following to solve the problems. So product of extremes, that is A into D, is equal to B into C. Okay. Now there is another derivation which is given here, which is nothing but your normal proportion A is to B is equal to C is to D. You can represent this as A by B is equal to C by D. Now if you do the cross multiplication, you will again end up with product of extremes is equal to product of means. Okay, so AD is equal to BC. Product of extremes is equal to product of means. So this is the very important rule of proportion. Understood the rule of proportion? Product of extremes is equal to product of means. Now moving further, there are different forms of proportion. We'll have to learn different forms of proportion also. Now first proportion is direct proportion. Now in the direct proportion, whatever is the terms that is said, it will be directly represented in a proportionate format, where if one increases, if one value increases, the other value also will increase. Okay, and if one decreases, the other value also will decrease. Now let us take an example: working days and wages paid on daily basis. If the number of working days increases, the wages also will increase. How? Because they are paid on daily basis. So every day when they come to work, they will be getting more money. If the number of working days decreases, the wages will also decrease, because if they are not coming to work, or if there is no work for them, and then they will not be paid the wages. So if one increases, the other increases. If one decreases, the other will also decrease. So this is known as direct proportion. Understood direct proportion? Okay. Now next one, indirect proportion or inverse proportion. Now here If one of the value increases, the other value will decrease. Okay, and if one of the value decreases, the other value will increase. Now let's understand with an example. Speed of the vehicle and the time taken to reach fixed destination. Now let us say we are going from Bangalore to Mysore. Now if the speed of the vehicle increases, the time taken will decrease, because with the increased speed, we will be able to cover up more distance and the time will reduce. On the contrary, if the speed of the vehicle decreases, if we are going slowly, then the time taken to reach Mysore will be too much. Okay, so that is the inverse proportion. Speed of the vehicle and time taken can be the best example for you to understand. Understood inverse proportion? In direct proportion, if one increases, the other increases. If one decreases, the other decreases. Both are in the same way. But in inverse proportion, if one decreases, if one increases, the other will decrease. If one decreases, the other will increase. They are in the opposite way. Understood? Okay. Now next, simple proportion. Now simple proportion is when it has all the four terms and it is directly given, the numbers are directly given, and if at all we are missing one of the number, then we can use the product of extremes is equal to product of means, and we can find the fourth number. We will have problems of such kind under simple proportion, where they will give you three numbers, either a b c will be given or b c d will be given. Okay, any of the three numbers out of this will be given to us, and they will ask us to find the fourth or the other missing value. So we will be using the product of extremes is equal to product of means rule, and we will find out. Okay, so that is simple proportion, when only four terms are there and we are able to solve it. Then compound proportion, when the number of related terms in the proportion is more than 4. A is to B is equal to C is to D is equal to E is to F, like that. If it goes on and on and on, then that is called as compound proportion. Okay. Understood compound proportion? Next, continued proportion. Now in continued proportion, you can expect one of the variable to be repeating. So a continued proportion is one which contains a chain of ratios. So A is to B is equal to B is to C. So if you see here, B is repeated. And then B is to C is equal to C is to D. Again, C is repeated. So this can be a continued proportion, where we understood about continued ratio, where we multiplied and we got the continued ratio, right? But here it is continued proportion, where A is to B, and then again it will continue with B, B is to C, again it will continue with C, C is to D, is called as a continued proportion. Okay, so these are the first 5 forms of proportion. Did you all understand until that? Now, the last type of proportion is mean proportional. If A, B, C are in continued proportion, then B is called the mean proportional between A and C. Then they form a proportion of A is to B is to C, where A by B is equal to B by C. So what they are saying is, here we don't have 4 values, we only have 3 values, A, B and C, where these 3 are in the continued proportion. Okay, so since there are only 3 numbers, B is called as the mean proportional. Okay, it is called as the mean proportional between A and C. And how do we find the value of B? The formula to find the value of B is B is equal to square root of A into C. Okay, suppose they're saying that there are three elements which are in proportion and we do not know the value of B, then we can use this formula to find the value of B. So this is known as mean proportional. Okay, so that is these are the types of proportions. Now coming to the properties of proportions, first you have invertendo, then alternando, componendo, dividendo, and then componendo and dividendo. Okay, these are like a simple rule. Whenever as per the problem, we will see the problem and then we will apply it. Okay, so first one is invertendo. That is nothing but if two ratios are equal, that is if they are in proportion, A is to B is equal to C is to D. If they are like this, then you can use this invertendo rule or property, and you can change the side. See, B can come to the A's position, A can go to the B's position. So you are inverting their places or changing their places. So B is to A is equal to D is to C is also equal. So if A is to B is equal to C is to D, then we are changing the places. So B is to A is equal to D is to C is also applicable. Did you understand invertendo property? Okay. Now next is alternando. Alternando means for the proportion A is to B is equal to C is to D, we are alternating the means values. So if you see here, this B has gone to C's place and C has come to B's place. A and D are there only. Okay. So we are alternating only the means values, that is C is equal to B. So A is to C is equal to B is to D is what is the value that you get. So this is alternando. You are alternatively changing the places. Then componendo. Here again, if four of them are in proportion, A plus B is to B is equal to C plus D is to D. So I told you, as per the problem, we will check which will be applicable and we will solve it. So if four are in proportion, you can compound them. That is A plus B is to B and C plus D is to D. This also holds good. This is componendo. Then dividendo. Dividendo means you'll have subtraction. Same thing, here it is addition in componendo and subtraction in dividendo. So A minus B is to B is equal to C minus D is to D. So that is dividendo. Okay. Next, componendo and dividendo. The property implies that if four are in proportion, then we are adding both componendo and dividendo. So what do you get? A plus B is to A minus B is equal to C plus D is to C minus D. So we are considering both of them. So A plus B is to A minus B and C plus D is to C minus D. Understood? These are the properties of the proportion. Any doubts until here? Can we go to the problems? Shall we start the problems? Good. Now, the first problem. Find the fourth proportional to 6, 14 and 15. Okay. So they have given 3 numbers and we are supposed to find the fourth number. Okay, and I told you the rule of proportion, that is the product of extremes is equal to product of means. By using that, we will be solving the problems. So first, let the fourth proportional, be x. Okay, so therefore 6 is to 14 is equal to 15 is to x. Okay, so 6 is to 14 is one ratio, 15 is to unknown number, that is x, is another ratio, and we have equated them, and let us say they are in proportion. Okay, if they are in proportion, Lakshmi, no, not, that is not the answer. Yeah, 35, correct Anas. So by using the rule of proportion, so what is the rule of proportion? Product of extremes is equal to product of means, right? So out of 6 is to 14 is equal to 15 is to x, product of extremes is these two and product of means is these two. Okay, so product of extremes, what is the product of extremes? 6 into x is equal to product of means is 14 into 15. Okay, now simplify this. 6x is equal to 14 into 15 is, how much is 14 into 15? 210. Okay, so x is equal to 210 divided by 6. Therefore, x is equal to 35. So the fourth proportional, somewhere write down the conclusion. Fourth proportional is 35. Understood? Any doubts in this problem? Okay. Now next one. The fourth proportional to 10, 20 and 30. Solve this now. Let the fourth proportional be x. Therefore, 10 is to 20 is equal to 30 is to x are in proportion. Very good. X is 60. By rule, product, write all the formulas. Product of extremes is equal to product of means. So 10 into x is equal to 20 into 30. So 10x is equal to 600. X is equal to 600 by 10. X is equal to 60. Therefore, the fourth proportional is 60. So everybody is clear with this. Very good. Now find out the fourth proportional, first proportional and all that in this problem. So this, I will give this as homework where you can practice how to find the first, second, third and fourth proportion. The only rule that you have to follow is product of extremes is equal to product of means. Okay. Now the next question. Find the third proportional to 6 and 24. Now we have only three numbers, and first number is 6, second number is 24, and we have to find the third number. Now if you remember the types of proportion, we learned mean proportional. Okay. Now when they say A, B, C are in proportion, we are supposed to, no Inas, 12 is not the answer. We are supposed to use B is equal to square root of A into C and find the answer. So whenever you get three numbers, whenever you get two numbers and they ask to find the third one, then in that case the starting procedures will remain same. That is, let the third proportional be X. Okay. Then 6 is to 24 is to X will be in continued proportion. Since we have three numbers, we are assuming it to be in continued proportion. So therefore, by mean proportional, we have B is equal to square root of AC. Okay. No, 4 is also not the answer. No, 12 is also not the answer. Find out properly. Now, what is A here? A is 6, B is 24, C is X. Correct? So, B is 24. B is 24 is equal to square root of A is 6, C is X. Square root of 6x. Now, I will take the square root to the other side. Then what will happen? 24 square is equal to 6x. Why 6 by 24 and all? Lakshmi, what are you trying to do? We are not dividing it, my dear. Okay, you people are getting confused. Listen properly. 6 is to 24 is to X. Correct? If you were getting it like 6 is to 24 is equal to 24 is to X, that is different way. Now here you have something called as mean proportional. You have a different way of solving it in proportion. Okay, so in this mean proportional, the formula is B is equal to square root of A into C. So you can directly get the answer here instead of splitting this ratios into 4 and then applying the value. Yeah, X is equal to 96 you will get. Good. Okay, now 24 square is 576 is equal to 6x. So 576 by 6 is equal to x. So x is equal to 96. So therefore, the third proportional is 96. Okay. In proportion, whenever they give you three numbers, use B is equal to square root of AC and find the answer. Don't split the proportion into two parts. Clear? Now, let us solve one more similar problem. Find the third proportional to 4 and 8. Now try solving this. Find the third proportional to 4 and 8. What will be the x value? X is equal to 16. Everybody got 16? Very good. So let the third proportional be x. Therefore, 4 is to 8 is to x are in proportion by mean proportional. B is equal to square root of AC. So B is 8 is equal to square root of 4 into x. So 8 square is equal to 4x. 8 8s are 64 is equal to 4x. And then 64 by 4 is equal to x. So x is equal to 16. So therefore, the third proportional is 16. Very good. Okay. Now let us solve this question. Find third proportional to 0.5 and 1.5. Give it a try. Find third proportional to 0.5 in and 1.5. Very good. 4.5. Manasa, it's not 4. So 1.5 is equal to square root of 0.5 into x. So 1.5 square is equal to 0.5x. So 1.5 square is 2.25 is equal to 0.5x. So 2.25 by 0.5 is equal to x. So 4.5 is equal to x. Very good. Okay. One last question for today. Find the value of x when x is to 8 by 9 is equal to 3 by 6 is to 4 by 2. Now, can you say me how, by which rule should we apply here to solve the problem? X is to 8 by 9 is equal to 3 by 6 is to 4 by 2. Which rule or which formula should we use here? Mean proportion? No. Why mean proportion, Anas? We have 4 numbers and all the 4 are different. We have learnt only 2 formulas until now. So out of 2 formulas or 2 rules, which should we apply? See properly, it is in the form of A is to B is equal to B is to C. Bhavya, compound will not be used here, Bhavya. Extreme, yeah, correct, Lakshmi. Product of extreme is equal to product of means. When you have 4 elements or 4 numbers given, just that the number is in the fraction format. That's all. Okay, so you have A is to B is equal to C is to D. So we can use product of extreme, that is called as rule of proportion. There is nothing called extreme method. Okay, it is rule of proportion. So product of extreme is equal to product of means. Now let us use that and solve this problem. So product of extreme, write down the formula in every problem. Formulas will contain marks. Is equal to product of means. Okay, so what is Lakshmi? No, 2 by 3 is not the answer, I think. Just check properly once again. It should be 2 by 9. Now product of extremes, extremes is x and 4 by 2. Okay, so product of extremes is x into 4 by 2 is equal to product of means is 8 by 9 into 3 by 6. Now x into 4 by 2 is 4x by 2 and 8 by 9 into 3 is 8 3s are 24 by 9 6 are 54. Okay, now you can do the cross multiplication. Now we have solved equations, right? You can do the cross multiplication. So what will be your next step? 4x into 54 is equal to, we'll write it as into only. So 4x into 54 is equal to 24 into 2. So 4x into 54 will give me how much? 54 into 4 is 216x is equal to 24 into 2 is 48. Correct? So x is equal to 48 by 216. Now check, do the cancellation. How much can you get? 2 2 2s are 2 4s are 2 1s are 2 8s are. Then again 2 1s are 2 2s are 2 9s are 3 3s are 3 4s are. You'll get 4 by 3. Is it correct? Or anybody is getting a different answer? You can use a different table also to get. If you have used 4, then I think you would get different answer. We have used 2 table here, so we have got this answer. Let us check with 4 table. 4 1s are 4 2s are 4 5s are 20, 4 4s are 16. Okay, and then again you have to come back to 2 only. 2 6 are 2 2s are 4, 2 7s are 14. Yeah, now you will get 2 by 9. 2 sorry 2 3s are no 3 2s are 6, 3 2s are 6, 3 9s are 27. Now you will get 2 by 9. Where I have taken, okay 108. Yeah, okay. Here was the mistake, sorry. 2 ones are and then 2 eights are correct. So we'll do it once again. 48 by 216. I'll use a different color. 2 twos are 4, 2 fours are 8, 2 ones are 2. Since I am taking the next two numbers, I'm leaving it. So 0, 2 eights are 16. So 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 fives are 10, 2 fours are 8, 2 sixes are 12, 2 twos are 4, 2 sevens are 14, 3 twos are 6, 3 nines are 27. So x will be 2 by 9. Yeah. Thank you, Sharath. Clear? Okay. We shall stop here for today and we'll continue in the next class.